So, hello, my name is Vicky Flanagan, and welcome to Sacred Sessions Ireland, where we gather online each week to connect to the sacred land of Ireland. Díomh is Misha Vicky Flanagan, Fáilte Roibh Huig Sesiún Hacráilte Éire, Tágmid le céile lína gach seachtain chun ceangal a thuthú leis an talún fanathe de Éireann. Welcome. So, Sacred Sessions Ireland, it offers weekly meditations that connect us to the sacred sites across Ireland. And these sessions are for anyone that is interested in reconnecting with the land of Ireland, rebuilding their sense of belonging to the land of Ireland, to the earth, and to themselves. I do recommend joining live sessions if you can, because we get to come together as community, ask questions and share any insights that we have. And then I'm excited for today's session because it takes us to Wicklow, and the theme is becoming a sacred mirror with Mottee Stone. So Mottee Stone is a giant boulder that weighs like about 150 tons, and it can be traced back to the Ice Age. So it's a glacial erratic that was like plucked from its granite home about 10,000 years ago and deposited atop of a hill in Wicklow. So it's now like the county's, or one of the county's landmarks, because it overlooks like really stunning views of the countryside, including Avoca Valley, the Wicklow Mountains, and then on a clear day you can see the 5 counties that surround Wicklow. So it's really nice. Sorry. So Mottee Stone, it's made of white granite, but the underlying bedrock is volcanic, which is really unique to the area. Mostly it's like copper bearing cysts, and the nearest granite source is like 13 kilometers away. So it's super unique there. And then apparently, according to local tradition, these kind of big boulders were really common in the 17th century, or were up to the 17th century, because, you know, tradition says that clergymen that felt that they were encouraging paganism, so they blew them up, supposedly. But I actually think there could be some truth to that. In Irish mythology, stones were seen as like the wisdom keepers and as a portal to the other world. And when I did this meditation, or this collaboration with the energy of Mottee Stone, what we'll experience together today, the stone like slightly rises to allow the earth pour up and out for cleansing. So it's lovely to have that connection, because we're actually able to relate to the stone that maybe the same way as our ancestors did, or the way they related to the stone, in that it is a portal to the other world in this case. And that the meditation, typically I would have a stronger hand, say, in the meditation, but this is a meditation that was given to me by the earth. Obviously, it was supported by Mottee Stone being the protector of this part of the earth, maybe, or, you know, the monument to the portal to the earth, but it was something that was gifted. So I'm looking forward to sharing the meditation. So like many of these ancient structures and these sacred places, I personally feel really called or drawn to walking around the structures 3 times. Not all of them, okay, but some of them I just have this inner feeling to walk around 3 times, like something is being unlocked. And for people that have meditated with Loch Crew, you'll remember that at Carnew there was an option in person. I recommend to do this, like where you can walk around Carnew 3 times, and what we're unlocking there is our heart's deepest desire, something that we're not conscious of. And then at Cairn H at Carrow Keel, we also walked around the Cairn 3 times, and that ritual was to open to possibility. So walking around 3 times, you know, it probably gives a nod to the spiral in the art as well that was in the Neolithic period, but maybe that has some connection, probably does. And then similar to Mottee Stone, I felt really drawn to walk around 3 times with the feeling that I was invoking something, but I didn't know what I was invoking. Where Loch Crew, it was very obvious. It felt like heart-based energy. It was a desire. And then Carol Keel, I heard open to possibility. It was quite specific, but this one I actually wasn't sure. So, you know, obviously I went to it, what I felt drawn to, walked around. I had a Tibetan singing bowl, and just made offerings. And it kind of felt like afterwards, it felt like, oh, I was unlocking or tapping into the power or saying hello to the portal. So that kind of unlocking the magic that was there. And I'll kind of explain why later. But some folklore, because I love this part of these sessions. There's different folklore around Mottee Stone. One legend is Mottee Stone was the hurling ball of Fionn McCool, who hit this slitter from the top of Lugnaquilla Mountain. So that's kind of cute. And then another legend is that on the morning of Easter, the stone transforms into a form of a woman and rolls down the hill. Well, as the stone would roll down the hill, but the woman would say, walk down the hill, drinks from the Mayhole, which is the well near Meeting of the Waters. So that's really sweet, because before I visited Mottee Stone, I went to the Meeting of the Waters in Avoca, and you know, offered prayers and scent and sound healing. And I just felt really guided to take some water with me as a gift for Mottee. And I wouldn't usually feel drawn to do that, but I did it anyway. And it felt really funny because when I got to see Mottee Stone, it was like, you know, 2.5 meters high. I was like, oh, my jar is like that size. But I sprinkled a little bit of water, and then I climbed up the iron rungs of the ladder and poured a little bit of the water over the stone. And it was only tiny in comparison to the vastness of the stone, but I felt like it was well received. So I was glad that I did that, especially hearing the folklore that the stone either rolls down the hill or, you know, turns into a woman and goes to drink the water there. So I thought that was really nice connection. And so the ladder that's now built in, basically it helps you just climb to the top of the stone. And apparently it was requested by Lord Wicklow in the 19th century because he wanted to show off all the land that he owned to his wife to be. So that's why we have those iron rungs that are in there. Yeah, so I wanted to share a little bit about my experience, and I hope that it resonates, or yeah, it's hard to explain your experience, right? Because it's so personal, but I'd like to share it anyway, because it's kind of the theme of the session. But when I first tuned into Mottee Stone, I felt I was gifted with a moment of transcendence. So I began, like I always do when I go out in nature, and I'm, you know, I'm making offerings, I'm honoring the nature or whatever it might be, the structure. And so I always say hello, introduce myself, and then I tell it how beautiful it is, how vast it is, how important and how grateful I am that it exists. And it just comes from a very, you know, honoring in a very genuine, authentic way. So when I was saying to Mottee Stone, you know, you're so beautiful, and like, wow, like you're so valuable, you're immense, like you're vast, like wow, you know. And I felt the stone stop and look at me and say, am I? And that kind of I was like, whoa. And it said, am I? And then it looked at me closer, as if you'd look into a mirror. It was kind of like, you know, the way you'd look into a mirror, and it said, oh yeah, I am. And my reaction was like, no, I'm me, you're you, you know. And in that moment, that reaction, I was able to experience that transcendental moment where it felt so silly to try separate us again. You know, I had that really special moment of oneness because Mottee Stone was using me as a mirror so it could experience itself. All right, so it was really lovely. So where Mottee Stone is situated, it's it's at the top of a hill in Wicklow, so it overlooks really gorgeous, spectacular views, right? But it didn't walk there, you know, like it didn't roll there, even like it didn't pack a bag, take a bus and get to the top of the hill. You know, like life placed it there, destiny maybe placed it there. Thousands of years ago, it was plucked from its home and like moved in a great wave of ice to that location. And that is what became its prominent location. You know, so there's a choice here. I think I'll share a picture of Mottee because I think it's always nice to have a visual. 2 seconds here. Okay, I'll share this one. Okay. Can people see it, or am I? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so there it is there. That's me on top of it. But around here, like the views go all the way around 360. So it's really beautiful. And it's nice to get a visual, isn't it, for the meditation. And you see the way it's kind of, the earth kind of rises at the bottom. Okay, I'll stop share. Yeah, so it has spectacular views. That's where it's looking out on, right? And it doesn't know that it's a rock, I suppose. If anything, that experience taught me like, oh yeah, like it doesn't know it's a rock. Like it doesn't know it's a boulder sitting on top of a hill. It uses its environment as a sacred mirror. In this case, allowing the scenic views of nature which surrounds it to reflect back its own innate beauty, its isness, right? So it looks out onto the vast views and thinks, wow, I am so vast. Like it looks out at the beauty of nature, wow, I am so beautiful. And the same with the color and wildness, or the fact that nature flows, it's fluent, right? So it's like, I am that I am. And because like Mottee Stone doesn't identify with its most basic form, like the fact that it's a rock, right, or stone, whatever, it doesn't have all the conditions of growing up like we do. Like it doesn't have all the other boulders voices in its head being like, you're not big enough, or like you're not small enough, or you're too big, or whatever it is. It's not programmed with that illusion of separation that we receive from growing up, from our environment and culture, all the ways that we are different or separate from one another. It didn't have that programming, right? So it's not thinking like, oh, it's just not fair that like flowers get to bloom but I'll always be gray, or like it's not fair that the grass gets to move with the wind but I can't move, or it's not fair that the mountains get to be that big and I'm this small. Like that's not what's happening here, but we do that all the time. Again, it's not sitting there thinking like, why am I separate to this beautiful landscape? Why am I here and everything that I want to be is out there? It's beyond that illusion of separation by using its surroundings as a sacred mirror so it can see itself, experience itself in all things. So remembering that it too is vast and beautiful and alive and wild and ever changing. So it lives within that realm of like oneness. And a quote I heard recently, Michael Meade say, but it's actually a monk that said this quote, but it was, you can't help but be who you are and where. And I think that's so important. Like the foundation of this session is that quote. So I feel like we can't really talk about our experiences with oneness without talking about experiences of separation. I feel like both are deeply human and universal. So it's like we can't talk about illusion without talking about truth, or love without fear. And I know oneness doesn't, I suppose, have a duality, or I don't think so. But as humans, like separation and feeling like we don't belong is such a big part of being human. I mean, it was for me anyway. And I was, I had an exchange session with a fellow energy worker, and she was working on healing one of my auras, the aura that I kind of tap into when I'm doing this work with the land. And she found some karma that was in my aura, in my field. And, as we kind of looked and healed that karma, it was really noticeable that this karma was all about separation, and in order to come into oneness. So I could see, all these moments in time, all these pictures and experiences that popped in that related to being separate, that feeling of like being separate, always on the outside looking in, and like seeing in that moment how like they were like juicy experiences for my soul. or this lifetime even, so that it kind of, all that, those moments of separation like built up into having been in wholeness, or like that drive to be one. So that was a lovely way, that was a lovely healing, first of all, to be able to recognize that and then be able to heal it was amazing. So, you know, but that kind of karma, being kind of like almost desperate to belong or feel whole, you almost have to get to that stage where you're willing to let go of illusions, let go of everything that you're not, everything that prevents you from seeing your light or like who you are. Because when the more painful life kind of gets, sometimes that's what it takes for us to say, yeah, I'm ready, just like I'm going to let it all go. And I personally think the most painful thing in life is feeling separate. And once we let go of those illusions that we are, we can kind of come into that feeling of oneness, that feeling of belonging or innate belonging, that I amness. And like, this is a journey. Like, as I said before I hit record, like, you know, I don't believe that the goal in life is to be in a constant state of transcendence. Like, I just don't. Like, I love the idea of being a human being, and as complex as that is. And you know, I didn't really have experiences of oneness really until I started working with nature. And nature offers us a sacred mirror constantly, where we don't have to go and do this big, deep, heavy work necessarily in order to see ourselves. It's there, like it's there. It's a mirror that's always there, ready. And I think these sessions offer us a path to oneness, or at least experiences of oneness, so that we get to like integrate those gently and then go out into the world, like make it part of our world, where being a human maybe is a little bit easier. So you know, I always bring up Caroline Mace. I love her, but she said that, you know, she gets asked all the time, what is like, how can I reach my highest potential? And she said that like your highest human potential isn't about becoming rich and famous. It's not even about like your work or your career. Like, we didn't come here just to like work, you know. To reach your highest potential is to embody it, which means allowing the soul to take over the ego's journey. So, you know, we need to learn how to move, how to love the life we already have and move through life that way. So, I mean, Caroline says it's a choice. For me, it's a prayer. You know, I'm constantly praying, like, you know, please help me to just love and cherish the life that I already have, the relationships that I already have, not just the people that I can't wait to meet, and like your dream, your friends or partner or whatever it is, or the work that I can't wait to be doing, or someday that people will, you know, validate. It's actually really our task is just to love and appreciate the life that we already have. That's our way of handing over I don't know, responsibility or surrendering to the soul. I think it's kind of having that deep trust, that deep faith that the soul has the bigger picture, where the ego really want to cling on to, yeah, I know, but once I get that job though, and I get that promotion, then like then I'll feel like I belong, or feel that oneness, you know. And I think again, that's not something that we can really run from. I think we need to just embrace it. So for me, it's a prayer, because I need divine intervention big time, especially if I'm going to go beyond the layers of conditioning. Again, like media, celebrity, family, culture, everything that made me who I am, like to shed those layers almost, just so I can see myself. Yeah, I think it's a constant prayer to be able to attune to the beauty that's already in your life. And that's the beauty of life. That's my opinion anyway. So Mottee Stone, I would say, teaches us the acceptance of where you are, allows you to go beyond even everything you think you want, right? So just the first rule is acceptance of what is, gratitude for the life that you already have. It's a practice for moving from separation into oneness, from illusion to truth, fear to love, right? So getting out of the habit of thinking like everything I want is out there, like it's always out there, rather than using using that, like the practice of the mirror, to see the beauty that's already within you. And there's no denying that like Mottee Stone looks out on like undeniable beauty, right? We universally, those scenes like the mountains and the valleys and the gorse and the flowers and stuff, like it's beautiful. Like everyone would say, yes, that is beauty to us. We haven't been programmed otherwise. Like if anything, the program is nature is lovely, right? So that's, some people might be like, yeah, but like, of course, Mottee Stone thinks it's beautiful because it looks out on beauty. Like, what if, you know, it looked out on like a concrete jungle, or like, you know, like apartment blocks with graffiti all over them, or it looked out onto like a wasteland? Then what? You know, and I think that's interesting for people to ponder personally. Um, personally for me, I actually think it would still find its innate beauty. All right, because when we think about using the sacred mirror, we're tuning to the grace, right? So like for example, when the stone used me as a mirror, it wasn't really looking at me and going, oh, Vicky looks like this, so yes, I'm going to agree. You know, it wasn't like, well, what's trendy now? You know, is she wearing everything that's in fashion in Ireland in 2022? Like, that's not what's happening. The stone is using me as a mirror, and it tune into the grace that's within the frequency of my words. Right. So it's the, like, you know, I hate like the whole light and love thing, but it's tuning into that lightness, right? And like there's this quote I heard Ram Dass talking before about, a man came to him and was like, I really want to be enlightened, and like that was his goal, he wants to be enlightened, but he was like, I just can't live in the city. There's just no way, I cannot live in the city, it's too noisy, it's dirty, I can't live a spiritual life there. Like, so we moved to the countryside, and Ram Dass said, okay, well, if you want to be enlightened, go and live in the city. Right. And I think that, like, that took me ages to try to digest that, because I was that kind of person. I still kind of am. I love living in the countryside so much. And I found when I first moved home, living, say, when I lived in Dublin for a bit, I found it really difficult to stay centered and see the beauty and not be triggered. But working with that, working with those blocks, we'll just call them, was actually helped me to go further in my spiritual life, you know. um Also, like, science has now proved, you know, through studies, work in like quantum field, that there is no form, just waves of energy, pure light, everything. So scientists like explain how we go from light to some atomic particles and like so on. I'm not going to pretend I know, but like, and so on and so on, to be, you know, physical humans, say. So maybe as humans, our task is to be first willing to just say yes. Yes, I'm open to perceiving the light that I am. You know, like, maybe it's very difficult for us to try even unpack that, or the path may seem too daunting. But I think if you're here on this call, you've already started that journey. You know, I think, is it Mukananda that said, like, don't take the spiritual path, but if you do, don't get off it. So we're all on it now. You know, we may as well go all out. But yeah, I think that's one thing that a teacher of mine taught me, is the first thing is just to say yes, a whole body yes. Really, for anything that you want in your life, just an embodied yes to experiencing your true self, and like let the world open up to you, you know. And you know, I think the little self, the ego, does need to die again and again to the soul, because the soul will grow exponentially when it's not so confined. um and then also, I was told before by my teacher that usually when you're going through like a really difficult time of like confusion and darkness and just the unknown, that there's most likely a breakthrough on the other side of that. So I love that now, because like anytime I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling great, like, I'm kind of, I just think, oh, I must be near in a breakthrough, you know. So if that brings comfort, that definitely helped me. And it's true, like, I usually then find I've grown so much. So we still have to go through it, but just to know that on the other, there is the other side, right, coming. And you can even like track your timeline. So for this year, I tracked May was going to be a big month. So I've been waiting for May 2022. And then I didn't even realize there was like eclipses and like Mercury retrograde and like full moons or whatever. So there is a lot going on this month. It's like such a great month for shedding, and such a great month for this meditation, hopefully, right? So I hope that made some sense. But if people want, we can jump into the meditation part now. Yeah, take your time to get comfy. You're welcome to do this one sitting down or lying down. Um, know that you may fall asleep if you lie down, so it might be better to sit up, but maybe be comfortable, have something on your back. Yeah, all right. Okay. So for this meditation, we'll pop into our Sacred Sessions Ireland group container. So I invite you to close your eyes if that feels good. And we'll just take a few breaths. Maybe roll the shoulders. We're going to, let's imagine that we're at the bottom of the hill where Mottee Stone lives. And we're going to come together as a group before we journey up there. So this container is going to be including everyone that's here live, and everyone that is going to watch this as a recording as well is concluded. So let's imagine now that there's an energetic bubble that surrounds our group. And this is going to be our group container bringing us together. We're going to set the intention to come together as community, but also to remain individuated. I love how this container feels already. So let's refresh our grounding cord for this container. Let's bring up a brand new grounding cord. So imagining a really beautiful earth cord deep in the earth, and allow it to travel up and attach to the bottom of our bubble. We're also going to bring in some universal energy. So let's imagine that above our container, our bubble, there's some beautiful golden light. Maybe it has lots of sparkles. We're just going to invite that energy into the container. Let's welcome in our own guides, our vaster wisdom. This is a space where your intuition gets to be in charge. This is a space of exploration where we get to do really big healing work. We get to learn about ourselves. Maybe we can put it out there that we learned something new that offers us a breakthrough, that maybe opens us up to some blessings through this new insight. And we're also going to set the intention that we're all really welcome here, that we're all supported. This is a space where we get to come home to who we are, come home to wholeness. All of us are welcome here. This is a space where we get to experience our innate beauty, our light in all things. This is a space where we actually want and welcome all the layers of conditioning and programming and resistance. Anything that's preventing us from perceiving our true selves, we're welcoming that here today, and it's going to be gently released by the earth. This is a space where we get to honor the land, the earth, and our bodies, who we are on a human level. And the earth knows each of us really uniquely well. So let's set the intention that whatever is needed for our next breakthrough happens today through collaboration with the earth and these energies. And if anyone has any, personal intentions that they'd like to set, you can do so in your own mind now. Let's just imagine that there's a magnet on either side of our bubble, and these magnets just draw out any energies that do not complement or support our intentions. And we're just going to invite up earth energy to contribute to all of our intentions. Universal energy pours in to provide deeper insights and wisdom and collaborate with us today. Now, I want you just to bring your attention now to your own personal aura. So your own bubble that surrounds you. And we're going to refresh our grounding cord. So let's imagine now that there's again, a really beautiful earth cord deep in the earth. It can be any color, it could be any texture. And just allow this earth cord to travel up the earth, through the soil, to attach to the bottom of your feet. Even allow this earth cord to get as wide as your aura. Maybe it gets about 3 foot wide. And just give yourself full permission just to exhale into the earth. We're going to welcome in universal cord for ourselves. So again, above our head, we can see that universal light, that cosmic energy pouring into our bubble, into our aura. We're welcoming in streams of grace. And just like the sun, it's just going to burn away any energy that doesn't belong to us. Moving down through our channels, our energy centers, all the way down to our feet. We can even set the intention, any energy that's inauthentic to me in my field gets to be released now into the earth. And we can just allow our intuition to find any inauthentic energies and just release them into that earth cord. And now we're going to recall our own authentic energy. So to do that, let's imagine a symbol that represents your authentic energies. It can be any shape, any symbol. It can be a flower, a seashell, whatever symbol comes to mind. Allow that symbol to sit in front of you. And your guides are going to help in recalling your authentic energies. You can recall your authentic energies into that symbol. And your guides are going to enhance your energies, bless your energies, and update them. And just notice what color your energies are. Notice if they have their own vibe. And then your guides are going to help to beam your energies back in. So moving this symbol to the bottom of your feet and beaming your energies back in, moving all the way up to the top of your head. Nice. So now that we're resourced, we've set our intentions, we've recalled our energies, we're ready to make our way to Mottee Stone, so we can all start to walk up the hill. It's a really easy hill, so it's grand. And as we get to the top of the hill, we're just going to stand around Mottee Stone and just say hello. First, going to say hello to all the guides that are protecting this area, protecting this portal and the stone. We're going to say hello, introduce ourselves. And there's different types of guides that are here in different realms. And they're doing really big, important work, whether we see or don't see it happening. So we're just going to thank them and honor them. And again, last week we discovered that giving space is a gift. Sometimes moving back from the stone is a gift. And we can make offerings. So we can offer gratitude, make energetic offerings. We can imagine that we have water from meeting of the waters. We can pour it over the stone, the guides. We can offer blessings and love. And we're going to just offer Mottee Stone a bit of a healing or a clearing. And let's imagine that Mottee Stone is in its own very own bubble, its very own aura. And any guides and protectors that would like to be included in this healing are welcome. We're going to first by grounding the stone, just imagining a beautiful earth cord, maybe from the center of the earth or the center of Ireland, gets to attach to the bottom of its bubble. We'll bring in some universal energy, allow it to pour into the stone's aura, kind of showering any guides that would like to receive. And first we'll just ask Mottee Stone, how can we support it, especially in what it's up to? How can we help? And sometimes it may ask for like energetic gifts again, like gratitude, honoring, love. Could ask for a commitment. If it asks for something physical, we can plan that, or we can make a different offering, but we're just going to say yes. You might even notice the difference in the energy when we offer. So let's offer a little healing. We can wash over Mottee Stone with earth energy. The earth's going to wash through anything dense or stuck, anything blocked. Again, let's welcome in nourishing and soothing water to wash over Mottee Stone. And again, this could be meeting of the waters. It could be that river energy. Let's bring in the element of fire and wash over the stone with fire energy. The fire can transmute anything inauthentic, other people's energies, maybe even karma. We're also going to welcome in the element of wind and offer a final clearing. And let's allow Mottee to choose whatever color would feel really auspicious and supportive. We can imagine that this color, that frequency of the color just kind of pours in. Just allowing it to soak up all those healing vibes. And we can even give it permission to heal or evolve. And this session is about saying yes to being open, at least to seeing yourself, your true self, to being able to witness your beauty and your light and becoming a sacred mirror. So all we need to do is just say yes. That's all we got to do. So let's just take a step back. We're going to introduce ourselves more fully to Mottee Stone. Your name, where you're from, what land you're from, maybe what your hopes and dreams are, even what you hope for this session. And we can even ask Mottee Stone, would it like to collaborate today? Maybe in helping you with these hopes and dreams, becoming a sacred mirror, being a better person, whatever it is. We're just going to ask if it would like to collaborate. When you hear yes, if you hear yes, we're going to first begin with this ritual to walk around 3 times in a clockwise direction. So we can begin to walk around in a clockwise direction around Mottee Stone. We're going to do this 3 times, remembering that this ritual is offering us a sacred cleansing where we get to shed layers that prevent us from seeing, feeling, or believing who we are. And as we remember who we are, our environment will rise to meet that. As we remember that our environment is a sacred mirror, we rise to meet that. And as we walk around this stone one more time, the last time, remember that you don't actually have to change anything or anybody. What we're ready to shed will be shed. It's almost like a prayer, like, show me who I am. And so we again stand opposite Mottee. We're facing the stone. And we see that the stone is unlocked. The stone begins to rise up as the earth beneath pours up and out from the earth. So much of the earth's energy is pouring out. You might see soil, you might just see energy, or both. Just trust your intuition. And this earth energy is moving 360 degrees around the stone and outwards. And it's going to begin to pour over you, allowing the earth to rise up to the top of your head and wash over you. This is Mother Earth energy, who knows you deeply. And she wants to help you remember who you are. So as a mother would, allow her just to wash over you. Allow the soil to wash over you, through you. Some of it might feel really gentle. Some of it might feel kind of harsh. And just know that it's all with love. And this earth energy is moving through your etheric body, your aura, cleansing your entire field. You can literally feel the density being removed. What's been stuck, what's been ready to shed is being removed. And just feel the earth's energy just pulsing through your system. It's like a deep exfoliant cleanse for your energy bodies. And just watching as the earth continues to flow down into your feet. And just when it feels right, just watching the earth energy move back, retreating back to the bottom of the stone. Moving back down into the earth. And just carrying with it anything, all the layers, all the energy that you're shedding, so the earth can compost it, turn it into something beautiful. And we can watch as the earth closes again. The stone kind of sealing the portal. We're just going to invite in the other elements. So let's invite in water energy, nourishing and soothing water just to pour over you really gently. Maybe we can welcome water specifically from that mayhole in Wicklow, in the Avoca Valley. Just that really calm well water. Just allowing it just to soothe and nourish your body, your energy field. And we're going to welcome in the element of fire. And also tune in if that feels good for you. If it doesn't, you can just leave it out. But if fire feels nourishing, we're going to invite fire to wash over our energy bodies. And just allowing the fire to transmute any karmic energies, any cords of enmeshment, even contracts or vows or agreements can be being cancelled in the background. And we just trust that that's happening. We're going to welcome in the element of wind. It can be a really soothing wind. And just noticing how you feel. Maybe looking down at your feet in this image. And as you take your first step towards Mottee Stone, you shed a layer of skin. And that first step is just leaving behind old skin. And you might feel reborn, naked, fresh, renewed. Just gently walk to the stone. And just climb the ladder carefully up each step, ascending, ascending. And at the top of the stone, you find warm blankets. You can wrap yourself up and just take a seat and looking outwards now at the view. Notice the gorse, the flowers, the wildness of the valley. Notice the greenery. It's now summer. There's so much blooming. Notice the rolling hills, the mountaintops that feel so vast. Notice how they make you feel. What are maybe some words that you would use to describe what you're seeing right now? Is it beautiful, immense, wild? Just take note of everything that you see and even what grabs your attention the most. Why does it grab your attention the most? What is it trying to show you? If you were to look more closely, what message is there for you? And this could be a sacred mirror. And I would ask, what is being reflected? Maybe something that you couldn't see in yourself before. And can you own this aspect of you now? And you can even say, I am that I am. You can just put your hands on Mottee Stone beneath you. Just take a look at yourself even. Notice your hands and legs. So we're going to begin to descend the ladder. And you're just going to climb down. And we're going to say thank you for the healing. So again, we're just going to offer so much gratitude and a whole ocean of gratitude. Let's offer even like a rainbow of frequencies to pour in over the stone, all the guides that are here, the earth. Bring in some sparkles, cosmic light, just to bless this space. You can even open your heart and just offer your love and a blessing. For some reason, I feel really drawn to like give Mottee Stone a hug and a kiss. So you can do whatever feels good. And before we leave, we're going to make sure that none of our energy is left behind. So let's imagine a big, beautiful gust of wind comes from the west and it just blows over this part of Wicklow, over Mottee Stone, underneath the earth, just picking up any of our energy, any of our debris, and just carrying it off into the east to be recycled by the earth or by the universe even. And we're just going to say bye for now. We can just come back into our group container. Let's refresh our own personal grounding cord and bring up a brand new grounding cord. Notice if this grounding cord feels more powerful, bigger, stronger. Let it get wider. Any energy that's inauthentic gets to be released into the earth. Let's bring in some universal energy above our head. Allow that pour in, all those sparkles, that light. Allow that universal energy to bless our field, to bless our body. Let's welcome up earth energies to structure our field now that we have been renewed. We're also going to recall our authentic energies one last time. So let's send back each other's energies with love. And let's recall our energies from each other's space. We can use that symbol again, and our guides can assist in recalling our authentic energies throughout all dimensions of space and time into that symbol. Our guides are going to bless our energies and update them to who we are now, and then beam them in from the bottom of our feet all the way up to the top of our head. Just taking our time to fill in our entire body, our channels, our aura, our centers. And just allowing our authentic energies to fill our aura, if that feels good. And we're just going to thank our guides. We're going to thank the earth, the land of Ireland, and thank the universe and each other, the community. And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, take your time to come back to the chat, come back to the room. And, you might feel, it might be best to drink a lot of water after this. Some people might even feel like they lose weight if that feels, that resonates. You may lose a lot of etheric rate or weight, so we could see that manifest in the physical too. Just kind of looking after yourself now, and maybe doing some journaling might feel good as well. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out. And thank you so much for taking the time to practice today.